Sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. When I did it, I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Now you see now. I'm not going to call P. Diddy a bitch. 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 Sean Combs is a bitch. Yeah. Sean Combs is a bitch. They bitches too. Sean Combs is a bitch. Bitch. Sean Combs is a bitch. Bitch. You don't hit women when you're a man. You don't hit women when you're a man. P. Diddy a bitch. 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 Sean Combs is a bitch. Yeah. I'm not going to call P. Diddy a bitch or any other name like that. But I ain't gonna stop anybody else from doing it. I'm not gonna malign them. P. Diddy a bitch. 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 P. Diddy.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your daily vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's get into it because we have breaking news. Okay, we got to talk about Diddy, and then also there's information on R. Kelly. So before we get into it, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Everybody, please be sure to like and share the video. Thank you in advance.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget to purchase. You can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so with that all being said, shout out to everyone in the chat, everyone tuned into the Queen. Okay, do I have my moderators in here? Okay, all right. Shout out to my moderators putting in work. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this started. First of all, let's have some Diddy updates. Now, I know I told you guys on the last video that Brendan Paul was going to be taking the stand after lunch, but he didn't make it on the stand today because they took a bit longer than some of us anticipated to finish talking with the Agent Penland. And then also they had the cross examination, which they didn't get finished until the end of the day. So Brendan will be on the stand tomorrow. And again, the prosecution is supposed to rest their case on tomorrow. Mark Agnifilo said that they're going to need 2 to 5 days to finish their case, okay, to get their points across and call their witnesses. Okay, so it looks like the case will be done by next week. At least I hope so. All right, because I am ready for it to be over. Now the question is, how long will it take for the jury to deliberate? All right, if they come back quickly, we already know it's guilty. If they take a minute and, they may be having some back and forth. So, that just will mean that they haven't made up their minds and everyone hasn't come to a unanimous decision. But I'm pretty sure they're going to come back quickly. Okay, so now let's talk about it because as I told you all, on yesterday, they listened to some of the freak off videos. Okay, they watched it and listened to it. Then today they went over a myriad of the text messages. And now the prosecutors in the case basically are pulling back the curtain on Diddy's alleged S trafficking enterprise. Okay, and this is all thanks to the unearthed personal messages, videos, and more. Okay, all of this evidence that they were able to retrieve from different devices. Okay, footage of Diddy attacking Cassie. Of course, we've all seen that at the Los Angeles Hotel in 2016. That once took center stage in this entire case. Now, the jurors have already seen the video of the assault, but on today, they saw messages from Diddy, okay, from Cassie, from Diddy's former chief of staff, Christina Coram, aka KK, and his bodyguard known as D Rock, after the rapper was seen kicking and dragging his former girlfriend down the hotel hallway. Now, in one of the messages, Diddy falsely told Cassie that he was about to be arrested, okay, as he was pleading with her to come back to the hotel. And I want you all to pay attention because y'all know Diddy was running game, sitting there talking about, I'm about to get arrested. Okay, the police are coming. I'm about to get locked up. Well, he should have been locked up after that beating he gave Cassie. Okay. So anyway, Cassie stayed away, but she did tell her then boyfriend that a male escort that they allegedly hired for a freak off had also left the property. Now, that wasn't the only time freak offs came up in the testimony, mind you, because jurors watched roughly at least 20 minutes of what appeared to be the video, some video footage created between 2012 and 2014 of these elaborate sexual performances. Okay, also nefarious. Now, the U.S. attorneys they plan on calling two more witnesses before resting their case. One of them is Diddy's former assistant, Brendan Paul. Okay, and he already, was given his immunity today. Okay, he came in with his two attorneys, as I told you all this morning, and so he'll be ready to get on the stand tomorrow. And then, like I told you all, when he gets up there and testifies, it's going to be real bad for Diddy because who knows what all Brendan is going to say. Okay, he definitely looks like he's not about that life. Okay, now the former assistant is expected to take the stand early tomorrow. And, this, we're just wondering what he's going to say about Diddy. Now, remember, he played football. I'm sorry, not football. He played basketball for Syracuse University. Okay. And he's going to basically be talking about, I'm sure, about obtaining those illegal substances for Diddy and his entourage. Remember, he's the one, according to Rodney Jones's lawsuit, that was carrying the black bag that had all of Diddy's uh, substances in there. The Tucci, all of it, the Molly, the X, you name it. Okay. The Coca-Cola and all of that. Okay. So anyway, he came in today. He was dressed in his jacket and tie, all right, with his attorneys, and walked in there looking like he was pretty much spooked. Okay, like he was very concerned and quite frankly, like he didn't want to be there. All right. And anyway, yeah, this is going to be real interesting, like I told you guys. Now, remember, he was previously accused of transporting a wide array of illegal substances for Diddy, including GHB, the common date grape drug, allegedly used against his victims. Okay, and this is all when he was arrested at the Miami airport last year for transporting Coca-Cola and the Mary Jane candy, okay, aka edibles. Okay, you all remember that. Now, mind you, he was granted immunity in this case, which requires him to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but. Okay, and of course, he's going to tell everything he knows. And if you remember, when I went over the documents in Rodney Jones's lawsuit, there were pictures included of one guy, and I can't remember that guy's name right now unless I pull up the lawsuit and go back through it. But there was another guy who they claimed, this is all alleged, that was supplying these weapons or something to Diddy, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, that was one of the pictures included, and I do believe there was definitely some pictures of Brendan in there. I can't remember if he was pictured with that guy or not, but they definitely had some pictures in there. And one of those pictures specifically was a picture of Brendan holding that black bag. Okay, that allegedly contained those substances. So anyway, we saw a number of text messages between Cassie and Diddy, including one in which they discussed two escorts who had reached out and basically, Diddy told Cassie, "You make the decision, please." Okay. And then in another one, Cassie mentioned having sexy flashbacks to one of her sexual encounters. Okay. In May, jurors also heard testimony from Cassie in which she tearfully said that she'd give back the money if she never had to do any of those freak offs. You all remember that? And then the prosecution asked Little Miss Jane Doe the same thing. And she said that yes, she would gladly give everything back if she didn't have to do the hotel nights. But then when Tina Garrigus got up there to cross examine her, she told her, "Well, you don't want to give back that house." And she's like, "Oh, but that was difficult. That was for me and my son." Remember that? Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, that's basically the gist of what we heard about Diddy today. More of those text messages, the audio, and all of that. And then, they supposedly tore up one of those hotel rooms so bad that it was like $46,000 to fix it. Okay, for the damages. I mean, what were they doing in there? Okay, that's absolutely crazy. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about R. Kelly because it's some bad news about R. Kelly. Now, they say that he actually was given too many substances. Okay, and I find this interesting because wasn't it just yesterday or the day before when he was saying that he felt like the government wanted him taken up out of here? Okay, so let's get into that, and then we're going to go through these documents about um this entire Tyler Perry lawsuit, which I find very interesting. So yeah, there was $46,000 in penthouse damages. Okay, there was a bill for this while reviewing hotel damage bills that were paid with Diddy's card amid his ongoing trial. I mean, they had all the receipts, and so today in the case, basically they showed all these receipts about Diddy's MasterCard, okay, things that had been paid with, how everybody was basically in on cleaning up the mess after the whole situation with him and Cassie, how Diddy was having other people reach out to Cassie to try to get her to return his phone calls, to see where her head was at, and all of that. And so the prosecution, now what they did, they wanted to use the evidence, specifically that bill that they had for the damages in the luxury room for 40, it was exactly $46,786. Okay. Now that's absolutely crazy. Can you imagine having a hotel bill that high because you did damage? Now they wanted to use this, like I said, to back up their assertion that Diddy used his company equipment to pay for extravagant freak off parties and other charges. Okay, that's just one of several things that also includes bills, credit card bills, and travel data. And again, this is all commingling of funds if you're paying for personal things out of your business accounts. Okay, as I told you all weeks ago. And the prosecution also claims that for 20 years, Diddy used his business connections to arrange these rug with a D fueled sexual encounters, of which they call freak offs. And he had them at these five-star hotels. Okay. So, as part of the evidence, the jury viewed a complete invoice from October of 2012. And that's where we saw that $46,000 was charged for damage to a penthouse room in the Intercontinental Hotel, which Diddy had booked under his customary identity and alias Frank Black. Okay. I mean, they were dropping all kinds of receipts. Now, mind you, Special Agent Penland of the U.S. Attorney's Office presented evidence that Diddy used the suite to host these wild and nefarious parties. The claims were based on the big repairs and replacements that were performed after he departed. The large amount of money owed highlights, the wastefulness of these operations, and the prosecution claims that they were intentionally done to harm people. That's what they're saying. And my thing is, how is the defense going to disprove any of this? Now, mind you, the total payment was made via an American Express card holding $944,000 in monthly charges. Okay, now the remark was also aired throughout the whole trial. Penland said that the Bad Boy Entertainment worldwide had many signature bank accounts that paid for the card. Now, this, mind you, backs up what the prosecution says, that Diddy's company helped him with both criminal and personal activities. And what does that make it? Well, that equates it and likens it to a criminal enterprise. Now, the jury also looked at a number of other claims along with the damage to the penthouse. Those included $740 for a purchase of these candles, okay, some sort of candles that he had to have, okay, that were said to have been used to set the mood for the party and for also round trip tickets booked under a fake name for an escort. Okay. They included pictures of hotel rooms, bills for baby oil and lubricant, and travel plans to provide a full picture of the logistics network that supported these events. That's why I'm telling you all that it seems like everybody was in on it, his entire staff, okay? And the prosecution said they basically saw these costs as evidence of a criminal enterprise aimed at encouraging non consensual sex, while the defense says that Diddy's costs were just normal travel and hospitality expenses for a famous performer. Now, the prosecution's strategy is to show that Diddy's lavish spending was a key part of his criminal organization. And that this is clear, when the jury looks at the $46,000 bill for damages to a penthouse, which was paid for using corporate money. Okay, it has commingling of funds written all over it. So now, as the trial has reached its sixth week, there's going to be a whole lot more. And we're going to have to stay tuned to see whether the jury believes these versions of events or if they're going to believe the defense's narrative that the person used the product on purpose. Okay. That these things were just, all for lavish sex parties that everybody consented to, that everybody purposefully agreed to these things, that the women called up these S workers and were complicit in it. Now, is the jury going to believe that? What the defense is going to say? Because their main argument, their main defense is that this was all consensual. Nobody was forced or coerced. Okay, nobody was made to do anything they didn't, in fact, want to do. That's what the defense is going to say. Okay, that's what they've been saying from day one. Now they're going to try to prove that. I can't wait to see how. But at the end of the day, or do you think that the jurors will believe the picture that the prosecution has painted, which to some is very compelling? Okay, I guess we'll wait and see. But like I told you guys, tomorrow, tomorrow, when Brendan gets up there, it is not going to be good. Okay, Gwendolyn said, Queen, let's talk about something else, please. Gwendolyn, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, beloved, but on this channel, you don't get to pick what the Queen talks about. Okay? I'm talking about a myriad of things today, and Diddy is one because, for one, I was going to go live outside the courthouse after court was over, but I did not because it was raining. Okay, and I was just trying to make it home, and I decided I would talk about it when I got here. Now, I'm going to be talking about Diddy until the case is over with and the jury has deliberated. And even after that, because I'm quite sure they're going to they're going to file for an appeal, as I've already told you all. So I would advise anybody who doesn't want to hear what's been said, if you're tired of listening to the Diddy stuff, then just don't tune in until you see something else being talked about. Okay. Now, with that all being said, and no shade, I'm just telling you that's what it is. Okay. Because just because you don't want to hear, beloved, other people do. And that's why I'm talking about it. All right. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about R. Kelly. Because Lord, R. Kelly came out here and said that the people were trying to take him out. Okay. He specifically said the government. And then now we hear that he's claiming they gave him too many substances. So let's talk about it. Like up, everyone, please don't forget to like and share. R. Kelly rushed to the hospital after overdose, claims prison officials gave him a near lethal dose of meds. Because when I first heard this, I was thinking, wait a minute, how is he overdosing in prison? I mean, I know they can smuggle stuff in, but how did he get that much? But come to find out, it was his meds. Okay, R. Kelly now claims he suffered an overdose requiring immediate medical attention after taking pills given to him by staff while in solitary confinement. So that all sounds sketchy. Okay, that all sounds sketchy if true. Now, I don't know that it's true, but that's what R. Kelly is alleging. And I find it very interesting, like I said, when he comes out days ago and said they were trying to take him up out of here. R. Kelly spent 2 days at a North Carolina medical facility over the weekend after he claims he suffered an overdose from medications provided by prison employees. Bureau of Prisons officials administered an amount of medication that significantly exceeded a safe dose and caused Mr. Kelly to overdose, putting his life in jeopardy. Okay, now this is what the third supplement to his emergency motion seeking release from prison due to fears for his safety says. Kelly takes medication for anxiety and also to help him sleep, in addition to other medications. Now, he allegedly showed his medications to prison officials when he was placed in solitary confinement last week, a move that his lawyer claims was meant to punish him for filing the emergency motion. Oh, so retaliation. That's what his attorney is saying. Now, Kelly's lawyer also says the alleged overdose happened almost immediately after he spoke publicly about the singer being kept in solitary confinement. The third supplement also claims that doctors informed Kelly he had blood clots in his legs and lungs that required surgery. But prison officials refused to let him undergo that procedure because it required a week of recovery. Don't you all find this interesting? Are they trying to kill this man for real? Because I find that interesting. Blood clots in your legs and lungs is a very serious issue. Okay, very serious. Now, Mr. Kelly's life is in jeopardy right now because of the Bureau of Prisons of them denying him necessary surgery to clear clots from his lungs. Okay, that's what the supplement says. He could die from this condition, and they're letting it happen. There is no legitimate explanation for that. Now, Kelly's lawyer, Bo Brindley, tells People, the publication, that the incident occurred on June 13th when Kelly woke up in solitary confinement at the Federal Correctional Institution in Butner, North Carolina. They said he felt faint, he was dizzy, he started to see black spots in his vision. Now, Kelly then struggled to get up on his feet, says Brindley, and being unable to walk, he crawled to the door of the cell before losing consciousness. Now, this absolutely sounds inhumane. The singer has allegedly been in solitary confinement ever since Brindley filed an emergency motion seeking a temporary furlough for his client on June the 10th. Now, the emergency motion claimed that officials within the Bureau of Prisons were plotting to kill Kelly and requested that the singer be granted a temporary furlough during which he would be placed under house arrest. In addition to the motion, the filing included a declaration from an inmate, Michael Glenn Stein, who alleged that he was also asked to kill Kelly. Do you all hear this? This man says he was asked to kill R. Kelly. Now, Stein alleged in his declaration that prison officials asked him to carry out or help facilitate the killing of Kelly before transferring him from a facility in Arizona to FCI Butner, the same prison where Kelly is now serving his sentence. The two men they even ended up in the same wing of the prison, according to Stein, and he eventually told Kelly about the alleged plot. Stein is no stranger to legal actions, having filed well over 100 civil suits and petitions in federal court over the past 2 decades. Now, he was also convicted of threatening to assault and murder a federal magistrate judge and an assistant United States attorney back in 2015 for letters that he sent from his prison cell. No date has been set for a hearing on that emergency motion at this time. So Brindley is attempting to get President Donald Trump to pardon Kelly and told People last week that he was in talks with people close to the president. Kelly has no known ties to the president, but did live in Trump Tower in Chicago prior to his incarceration. Brindley told People last week that his client has been attacked in the past and that he fears for a future incident. He fears of a future incident or his fears for it are only heightened by his belief that officials inside the prison may not adequately protect the singer or may actually refuse to do so. He says he's not safe in federal custody. This is what Brindley says. And to keep him in prison while he's under a threat like this is cruel and unusual punishment. Now, spokespersons for the Bureau of Prisons declined to comment on these allegations, but people obtained the government's response to Kelly's motion filed by Assistant U.S. Attorney Jason Julian, who says he believes placing Kelly in solitary confinement was an effort by prison officials to protect him. He then said that, really? That sounds interesting, because if that was an effort to protect him, well, how did they end up giving him too much of his own medicines? And why are they refusing to allow him to get the medical procedure that he needs to get rid of the blood clot in his lungs and the ones in his legs? Okay, I just have several questions. Okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. How about you all? Okay, what do you all think? I think it sounds absolutely crazy, but let me continue. So, anyway, he then said that Kelly is a serial child molester with an M whose criminal abuse of children dates back to at least President Bill Clinton's first term in office, decades before Kelly was taken into federal custody. He later noted that Kelly has never taken responsibility for his years of sexually abusing children, and he probably never will. So the conduct included, well, of course, R. Kelly got 30 years in prison, okay, after being convicted on multiple charges of racketeering predicated on criminal conduct in the Eastern District of New York, mind you. But that conduct included the sexual exploitation of children, forced labor, and violations of the Mann Act involving the coercion and transportation of women and girls in interstate commerce to engage in illegal sexual activity. Okay, honey, this is a whole lot. So what do you all think? Do you all think they're really trying to take R. Kelly out? I mean, at first I was a little skeptical, but now it all sounds very plausible. Okay, now it all sounds very plausible, because why would this man come out and say that he was asked to take out R. Kelly? Is the man lying, clout chasing? I don't know, but I do find it interesting. And then further, it seems to be, more plausible when he's saying that he's having these medical issues. They won't take him to get treatment for it, and then gave him too much medicine. Okay, that all sounds real sketchy. Okay, J. Emma Clinton says the timing is suspect. Absolutely. Okay, absolutely. I have to say so. The lounge says it does after I hear this. Wow, exactly. That's what I'm saying. This is all so crazy and quite frankly nefarious. Okay, it absolutely is. Now let's talk about Tyler Perry, because y'all, Lord have mercy, this actor from The Oval. Once in the chat, if you all watch The Oval, once in the chat, if you all watch Tyler Perry's show, The Oval, because I do. Tyler Perry has some good shows as far as I'm concerned. Now, with that all being said, he's been sued by one of the actors from the show, The Oval. And this is an actor by the name of Derek Dixon. Okay, Tyler Perry is sued for $260 million over sexual harassment and assault allegations. Now, Matthew Boyd, an attorney for Perry, told People in a statement that Tyler will not be shaken down, and we're confident these fabricated claims of harassment will fail. Okay, they said this is all cap and lies and BS. Now, actor Derek Dixon is suing Tyler Perry for this $260 million. Okay, now in the complaint filed on Friday, June the 13th in Los Angeles, which was obtained by People, Dixon accused Perry of creating a coercive, sexually exploitive dynamic between them while he was starring on the filmmaker's shows The Oval and Ruthless, on which Dixon starred as a character named Dale. The complaint accused Perry of initially promising him career advancement and creative opportunities, such as producing his pilot and casting him in his show, only to subject him to escalating sexual harassment, assault and battery, and professional retaliation when Mr. Dixon did not reciprocate Mr. Perry's unwanted advances. Y'all, when I tell you, here comes another mogul of my skin tone being targeted and accused of sexual harassment. Now, the question is, do we believe this story? Well, let's get into it so we can figure it all out, because I haven't read this lawsuit, but I'm about to put it on the screen so we can go through it. Okay, Matthew Boyd, an attorney for Perry, responded to Dixon's complaint in a statement saying this is an individual who got close to Tyler Perry for what now appears to be nothing more than setting up a scam. But Tyler will not be shaken down, and we're confident these fabricated claims of harassment will fail. Okay, so with that all been said, let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen so we can go over the documents. Let me see how long this is. Okay, so, ooh, honey, this is 46 pages. So I can tell you right now, I'm not going through this whole thing. Okay, I'm not going through this whole thing. It's 47 pages. But what I will do is I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go through some of it. Okay, we'll go through some of this. Let's get into it. Lights up, everyone, please. Don't forget to hit that like button. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, I would have been on here earlier, but I was trying to find these documents. Okay, so here we go. Let's talk about it. Now, this was filed in the county of Los Angeles, okay, Superior Court of California. Derek Dixon, an individual plaintiff, versus Tyler Perry, an individual, okay, and Tyler Perry Productions. All right, so let's get into it. Summary of action. Plaintiff Derek Dixon files his complaint against defendant Tyler Perry, aka Emmett Perry Jr. Okay, not Emmett Perry Jr. I didn't know that was Tyler Perry's name. Anyway, the following complaint is pled on information and belief. Now, this case arises from a sustained pattern of workplace sexual assault, harassment, and retaliation perpetrated by Tyler Perry, a powerful media mogul, against plaintiff Derek Dixon, a professional actor and screenwriter. Mr. Perry is an American actor, filmmaker, and playwright who has built one of the most successful careers in the television industry. Mr. Perry used his considerable influence in the entertainment industry to create a coercive, sexually exploitative dynamic with Mr. Dixon, initially promising him career advancement and creative opportunities, such as producing his pilot and casting him in his show, only to subject him to escalating sexual harassment, assault, and battery, and professional retaliation when Mr. Dixon did not reciprocate Mr. Perry's unwanted advances. So he's trying to say Tyler Perry wanted him. Okay, I find that interesting. Now, these events occurred while Mr. Dixon was employed as a regular series on the as a series regular on the Tyler Perry show, The Oval. And while Mr. Perry held direct control over his employment, compensation, and creative opportunities, Tyler Perry rose against all odds to become one of the powerful figures in the entertainment industry. His success story, once a symbol of perseverance and self-made achievement, has now become a cautionary tale of how unchecked power, wealth, and influence can corrupt those who attain it. I find this all interesting. Do you hear how they're wording this? Okay, among other contracts, Perry received a lucrative multi-year partnership with the Oprah Winfrey Network, and his net worth tops $1.36 billion. Tyler Perry's rise to fame and fortune elevated him from a powerless victim to a figure of tremendous wealth, influence, and power, culminating in the ownership of his own film studio. Rather than using his influence responsibly, Tyler Perry has engaged in a pattern of misconduct where he exploited his position of power. Tyler Perry has been using his power and influence to molest, abuse, and sexually assault impressionable and vulnerable employees and actors who look to him for guidance and mentorship while pursuing their dreams. Honey, they're trying to make Tyler Perry Weinstein. I want y'all to pay attention. Oh my goodness, and here it is. Just like Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, Sean P. Diddy Combs, Kevin Spacey, Roger Ailes, and others in the industry. Do y'all hear this? Mr. Perry's success has led him to believe that money and influence can get him whatever he wants. Now, that belief slowly transformed into the false idea that Mr. Perry can get whomever he wants. There are things in life that money cannot buy. Mr. Perry sought the one thing his wealth and influence could not purchase: an sexual relationship with a man who would remain silent. Perry told Mr. Dixon that his ideal relationship would involve a male sexual partner he could provide for, and who would be loyal but emotionally detached. Perry told Dixon, whoever ends up with me is going to be a happy mother sucker. You heard this? Does that sound like Tyler Perry that y'all know? That we all know and love and watch all of his movies and plays and all that and shows? But let me continue. Now, in essence, Mr. Perry desired a one sided coercive dynamic with a subordinate, an arrangement devoid of mutual consent or emotional reciprocity. With that all being said, what do you all think about this? Reciprocity. What am I saying? I can't even get my words out. But what do you all think about this? Are y'all falling for this? Do y'all believe it? Or do you all think this is a money grab? Do you all think this is a money grab? Pio Bunyan said, fall from grace. Is it a fall from grace? I mean, let's not just jump to conclusions. Now, let's not jump to conclusions because how do we know if this is true? DJ Big Six said a scam sandwich, not a scam sandwich, okay? TC Dan said it seems like a money grab to me. Claudette says it's plausible. You know, it might be plausible, but here's the thing. I want to get more details before I just jump on the bandwagon and say that Tyler Perry is absolutely guilty. Okay, because there's people out here who be telling lies. Now, I'm not saying this young man's telling lies, but let's not act like there aren't people who do tell lies for money, okay, for monetary gain. So, anyway, so let's continue. Now, with that all being said, goes on to say, hold on, where was I? Said whoever gets with him is going to be one happy mother sucker, honey. Now, in essence, Mr. Perry desired a one-sided coercive dynamic with a subordinate arrangement devoid of mutual consent or emotional reciprocity. Thus began Perry's calculated pursuit of Mr. Dixon. This was not Mr. Perry's first instance of sexual exploitation. He has demonstrated a troubling pattern of exploiting vulnerable male actors and employees, leveraging his industry power to create a cycle of hope and dependency. First, he offers aspiring actors the prospect of career defining opportunities, roles that promise visibility and advancement. Then, once they're in his professional orbit, he uses the weight of his influence to ensnare them, positioning their success as contingent on meeting his demands in a quid pro quo sexual compromise. This pattern of behavior reveals a calculated use of professional power for sexual leverage. Honey, that makes it sound so salacious and quite frankly nefarious. Now, using his influence, Mr. Perry provided vulnerable men with acting positions, roles, show contracts, cars, and money. Once the object of his desire was hooked, Tyler Perry would then put them in fear of losing it all unless they engaged in Mr. Perry's perverted desire of sexual gratification. Mr. Perry would easily kill off a character in a show of an actor who failed to indulge in Perry's sexual fantasies. Okay, so do y'all hear this? So they're saying that he would give them the roles and stuff and give them cars and money. Well, here's the thing. If you're a grown man and another grown man that you work for is giving you cars and money, you should be asking yourself, why are you accepting it? Why are they giving it to you, honey? You know, at the end of the day, is anything in life ever really free? If a grown man is giving you cars and money, your spidey senses don't make you think that perhaps there's something behind it. Not saying that there is or has to be, but you should at least ask yourself, why are they giving you these things? Okay. This is starting to sound like some of the people that were talking about Diddy giving them stuff. Like when people are giving you very expensive things, 9 times out of 10, they want something in return. Okay. Now, I'm not saying Tyler Perry wanted anything in return because I don't even know if this story is true. But what I'm saying is, in the grand scheme of things, in general, when people are giving you things, a lot of times they want something, for their troubles. Okay, they want a return on their investment. Okay, and if you're taking things from somebody that are very expensive, specifically, now come on, nothing in your mind told you that maybe they might want something back in return. So anyway, in one such exchange, Perry stated that he could fix things because the actors of a show that he was filming should all be scared because they were all shot at and we don't know who lives. That's what he said. That's what they're claiming that he said. So in the show, people got shot at in an episode apparently, And then the plot of who's going to be shot or who's going to be dead by the next season wasn't revealed. So basically, they're saying that he was telling people, y'all better get it together because you don't know which one of y'all is going to be up out of here when the next season starts. Okay? Again, this is all alleged. Derek Dixon was Mr. Perry's sexual desire ever since they became acquainted. Dixon was working as part of the event staff for a party hosted by Mr. Perry when Perry noticed him. Perry immediately offered Dixon the chance to audition for a part in one of his TV productions. Now, Dixon agreed and was on set with Perry behind the camera for weeks in close quarters. During the time they were filming, Perry would send flirtatious text messages to Dixon. For example, in one message, Perry stated that he was jealous when he saw Dixon talking or going on a walk with another man named Brad. Well, here's the text message, honey. Looks like they have the text message right here. Let's see it. It says, why did that photo make me jealous? You two together. Uh-oh. Y'all hear this? Is this a receipt? Mama Johnson said he should have ignored the text. Okay, but let's continue. And then the guy responded back saying, ha ha ha, I don't know. It's just Brad, LOL. Now, here's the thing. Now, this is where you mess up. Now, this is just my opinion. If a grown man sends you a text telling you that he was jealous of you and another man, okay, and what you shouldn't do is say, ha ha, I don't know. It's just Brad, LOL. Okay, now you're down with it. Like you don't have a problem with it. It sounds like you're laughing because okay, it just tickled you. Okay, it was just fun and games. I wouldn't find that funny, especially coming from my boss. But anyway, then Tyler replies back allegedly LOL. Okay, then Derek says, he just wanted to go for a quick walk to get his steps in. And now I'm walking to Chipotle by myself, LOL. See, I'm sorry. And then Tyler says, thick Derek, get that Chipotle. First of all, what's really going on here? Okay? What's really going on here? Because first of all, if you are not having anything going with this man, why would you be sitting here laughing about him telling you that you wouldn't ask him, bro, what the hell you mean you were jealous? Why would you be jealous because I'm out walking with my friend? Like you wouldn't think to ask him that. It's like you knew, it's like you almost expected it or you weren't shocked or surprised. Luna said, Queen, you are hilarious. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being very serious, beloved. I'm not even trying to be funny. Okay, when the people said that's relationship talk, that's what it sounds like. Why would you dare say LOL? Like, what is funny about that? But now we're supposed to think that you were bothered by it, sir. Sir, I'm not falling for it. Sir, I'm not buying what you're selling. Okay, because if Tyler Perry did say anything out of the way to you, sounds to me like you welcomed it. Okay, sounds to me like you welcomed it, period. Okay, why would you be sitting there talking about some LOL and then explain to yourself, oh, he just wanted to walk with me just to get his steps in. Now I'm walking to Chipotle by myself, LOL. Yeah, that sounds like y'all just talking cute. Okay, that's what that sounds like. Honey, please, I wish somebody would. But let me continue. I find it all nefarious, don't you all? Please miss me with it, honey. It's not, Anyway, in another text message, Perry stated to Dixon, what's it going to take for you to have guiltless sex? Have y'all found that yet in therapy? You can you can have freedom from religious guilt and still believe in Christ. Okay? Now here's some more text messages. Uh what's it going to take for you to have guiltless sex? Okay, then he says, yes, it's the exact same kind of car, a Geo Metro. Did he buy this man a Geo Metro? Say what? And then he says, giving up my religious guilt, becoming a Buddhist. That's so cool. Uh, that's so cool where you come from. And then he says, unfortunately, Derek, I have friends who are in their 50s and 60s who are still dealing with that, and it's so sad. You can be or have freedom from religious guilt and still believe in Christ. Okay, yeah, this is all sounding. Yeah, this is all sounding real nefarious. But see, here's my thing. Like I said, if Tyler Perry did actually send these, if Tyler Perry did actually send these, Luna talk about you had a geo. Okay, yeah, I'm sure you did. But the point is, beloved, I'm saying Tyler Perry sending somebody a geo metro. That's just hilarious to me. Is my point. But the bottom line is, if this man didn't want Tyler Perry talking to him like that, then he should have put a stop to it. Let me tell you all something. This reminds me of Kanye West's assistant. Okay, remember that assistant, Lauren Piscotti? Isn't that her name? That said Kanye was sexually harassing her, sending her all those text messages and all that stuff. But he sent her more and more text messages, and she had them all in her lawsuit that she filed. But what she didn't include were her responses to the text messages. Okay. And I said to myself, and I even said to you all, if Kanye was sending her those nefarious text messages saying things that she deemed inappropriate or made her feel some type of way, uncomfortable specifically, why did she continue to accept them? Why did she check him and say, listen, don't play with me like that? Okay, you can't talk to me that way. Don't send me these kind of text messages or it's going to be a problem because I don't like it. See, I had somebody, I told you all, I had somebody saying things out of way to me at a job once and they did it twice. The first time I called them off to the side and said something. The second time I went to the higher ups and I ended up suing the company because they didn't fire the person. Remember, I told you all that? But what I didn't do is feed into it. The first time the person said something out of the way to me, I called them out to the side and I said, look, don't joke around with me like that. You don't know me like that. Okay. And me and you don't have that kind of friendship or relationship where you can say inappropriate things to me. So don't let it happen again. And that was my boss. So I guess he didn't pay that no mind because he thought he had the complexion for the protection. Okay. And then so he said something again. And like I said, I went straight to the higher ups. Don't play with me. And then when they didn't do anything, I filed a letter, I filed a case with the EEOC and then got a letter to sue. And that's exactly what I did. See, that's what you do. You don't sit there and feed into it. If someone is saying inappropriate things, why the hell would you be laughing about it, kikiing and ha ha, and making jokes with them? Now you want to cry foul. Okay? Because when you do that, aren't you in fact adding fuel to the fire? One could even suggest that you're leading them on. You're making them think that it's working. You're making them think or assume that they possibly have a chance with you when in fact you should let them know from the jump, from the gate, that you don't have a chance with me. Okay, this is a professional working relationship and that's all I ever wanted to be. I don't want to be in a relationship with you. Or if you don't get down like that, if that's not your cup of tea, that's not your lifestyle, then let them know that too. Respectfully, I don't get down like that. Or respectfully, I don't mix business with pleasure. I'm flattered, but that's not what I do. You don't have to be nasty about it. You can say it in a nice way because nobody wants to lose their job, specifically if you're making lots of money. But you could just tell them to listen. I don't really get down like that. I appreciate you. I mean, it's flattering and all that, but I don't roll that way. Or I just want to keep it professional. I don't mix business with pleasure. Okay, because when things go south, it could be worse for me. So I'd rather just keep it professional. Thank you very much. And leave it at that. And then if they want to still mess with you after that, and then they want to retaliate, try to fire you or whatever, well, then you go file you a lawsuit. But don't sit up there and feed into it. Now you want to file a lawsuit. And second of all, here's the thing. Once they say something to you out of the way or send you some text messages, you immediately let them know what time it is. And then after that, you start recording every time you're around them in case they say something sketchy or they try to retaliate. Okay, see, that's what I was doing in my job, honey. I was taking a little notebook. I had a little recorder. I was recording stuff, writing down notes, and writing down who all were witnesses and all of that. I had all of that when I was going to take them to court, but we didn't go to court because when they found out all the evidence and receipts I had, they quickly settled. And that's how these things usually turn out. But what you don't do is sit there and feed into it because then it looks like you were complicit. Then it looks like you were asking for it, or maybe not asking for it, but that you at least welcomed it. Okay, that you didn't shy away from it. And then maybe something bad happened, or things didn't go the way you expected them to, and now you're wanting to sue. Okay, that's all I'm saying, honey. And then it makes people less likely to believe your story. Because right now, I'm not believing this story. I'm thinking it was a little something more might have been going on just based on his responses. But let me continue. So anyway, plaintiff carefully navigated a friendly demeanor to prevent the loss of income and opportunity on the hand, and on the one hand, and on the other, a firm boundary against Perry's advances. Often when Mr. Perry started drinking, he would demand more attention from plaintiff and get more aggressive with his flirt. See, first of all, that's what you're not going to do. That's what you're not going to do. You're not going to flirt with me. If I don't want you to flirt with me, that's what you're not going to do. Christopher said, you are a beautiful queen. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you and your kind words. Okay, Darius said, Queen, I truly, truly believe that Diddy can get at least one. Okay, well, we're not talking about Diddy right now, beloved. And whatever Diddy can get is probably not going to help him at this point. Okay, it's too late in the game. What Diddy's about to get now is sentenced to prison, beloved. Okay, that's what Diddy's about to get. Now, let me continue because right now we owe Mr. Perry, and this is the fairest lawsuit filed by one Derek Dixon. Okay, aggressive with his flirting, he said. Now, see, when somebody starts flirting with you aggressively, and again, I'm not saying Mr. Perry did because I don't even know if any of this is true. This is all alleged. But if in the case of the event, if anyone is at a job or anywhere with their employer and they are aggressively flirting with you, well, that means that when they were first flirting with you, like with that little text message, and you welcomed it, you laughed at it, you thought it was cute, like you chuckled a little bit instead of going off, instead of standing your ground and standing on business. So now it's getting aggressive. Well, yeah, that's because you welcomed it. They think you like it. So now they're going to do more of it. Okay, that's why you need to check stuff from the gate, like I said. Now, on one occasion, when Mr. Perry was drinking, he started to become extremely annoyed when Mr. Dixon avoided him. Mr. Perry stated that of the 600 people in his phone book, he only wanted to talk to Mr. Dixon. Here it is right here. It says, treat myself right. What are you doing? Derek. Look how he wrote it. He wrote it just like in that movie where he had Tiana Taylor talk about Byron, Byron. Remember when she was playing Bow Wow's baby mama? That's how it looks like he said it, Derek, with all these R's and E's and K's. Okay. Then he says, just talking to my sister. And then Tyler Perry says, I roll. Fine. Good night. I'll go through the 600 people in my phone book and be annoyed that I don't want to talk to any of them. And then Derek says, trying to get off so I can go to sleep, LOL. He says, I understand, LOL. Then he says, LOL, apparently you're not the only one that's been drinking tonight. Tyler says, I just started. And then the guy says, they didn't, LOL. All these damn LOLs, honey, let me tell you something. This is giving you liked it. Okay, it sounds like you like the attention, Mr. Dixon. All these darn LOLs, it sounded like you enjoyed the attention. Okay, that's what it sounded like. Why would you be LOLing this stuff? All right, please pay attention. But let me continue. So anyway, Dixon did his best to tiptoe around Mr. Perry's sexual aggression while keeping on Mr. Perry's good side. Mr. Perry made it clear to Dixon that if Dixon ignored Perry or failed to engage with the sexual innuendos, Dixon's character would die in the next season. Well, go ahead and kill him off. It's not like you can't go find another job, can you? Or maybe he thought that he would be blackballed, like they say, like Monique claims they did her, honey. But at the end of the day, see, he should have just stood his ground. All right, that's my opinion. Now, indeed, Dixon's character Dale was shot 4 times in the chest at the end of the first season on the Oval. And Perry always held this over Dixon's head, implying that Dale would survive if Dixon kept Perry happy. This is all crazy. See, I would have been recording all of this. Where's the text messages saying this? Or did he say this audibly? Because I would have been recording it. The first minute that you start saying something out of the way to me and you're my boss, the next thing I'm going to do is start recording. Okay? That's what he should have been doing. Anyway, hold on. Okay, once Perry recognized the extent of control that he had over Mr. Dixon, he escalated this behavior. On multiple occasions, Mr. Perry actually assaulted Mr. Dixon, including one instance where he forcibly pulled off Mr. Dixon's clothing, groped his buttocks, and attempted to force himself on Mr. Dixon. Oh, hell no. Y'all hear this? I want y'all to imagine this, honey. I want y'all, first of all, please tell me how Tyler Perry pulled off the man's clothing and groped his cheeks. Okay, where did all this happen and how did it get to that point? And sir, what were you doing when this grown man And you being a grown man yourself, TC Dan said, okay, that escalated quickly. I mean, really? Now, where were you, sir? Were there any? Because here's the thing. Here is the thing. If this man is saying things to you inappropriately, being overly flirtatious, sending you these nefarious text messages or whatever, sir, why would you be anywhere with him by yourself? Don't you think that would possibly be adding fuel to the fire or putting you in a predicament to where something like this could happen? Because I know y'all had to be by yourselves if he snatched your clothes off and grabbed your cheeks. No less. Do y'all hear this? AJ said he pulled his drawers off. TC Dan said the math ain't mathing, beloveds. Claudette said, wow. Luna said he wanted it. Y'all are crazy. Wavy those said, make it make sense, LOL. We the people said he played that Secret Service guy on the show, I think. No, 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 no. He wasn't the Secret Service guy, beloved. He's the guy who he played the gay guy on the Oval who was hanging out with the black girl who was dating the son of the butler who worked at the White House. Okay? Remember the butler who worked at the White House? He had a wife and he had a son who got killed by this cult. And the girlfriend, she was hanging out with this guy, Dale. He came from a small town and she befriended him. Okay, that's who he played. He played Dale. Okay, the gay dude that used to work at the little store in the little small town before he moved there. Okay, honey, this is all, honey. I know all Tyler Perry shows, but let me continue, honey. It's gonna take on a whole new meaning when I watch the next episode. Please pay attention. But anyway, this is all hilarious and crazy at the same time. Okay, so anyway, goes on to say, hold on, where was I? Something about pulling off his clothes. Hold on, and squeezing cheeks. Okay, here we go. So anyway, he tried to force himself on Mr. Dixon. Mr. Dixon told a drunken Perry no and attempted to remove Mr. Perry's hands. Not attempted to remove, but Mr. Perry held tightly onto Dixon's wrist. Mr. Dixon was only able to escape after de-escalating the situation by abruptly changing the subject. Honey, what kind of subject do you change it to when somebody rips off your clothes and squeezes those cheeks? How do you change the subject on that? How do you change the subject at that point? I have several questions. When somebody's standing there with a handful of your cheeks, honey, how do you change the subject? Please make it all make sense, honey. I'm not believing this. Okay, I don't know about y'all, but I'm not believing it. I'm not. I'm not. Tyler Perry didn't do any such thing, Mr. Dixon. You lied. Tyler Perry is innocent. Ooh, honey. I want to say he's innocent, but these text messages is giving nefarious. Okay. Durana said squeezing the Charmin. Gwendolyn, don't be putting no damn laughing emojis in here. Didn't you just tell me not to talk about Diddy? Didn't you just go in on me a few minutes ago? Adrian Marie says, sorry, but this is a comedy script, okay? Nubia Cutie said, I don't know about this one, Queen. I don't know about it either, honey, okay? This is all crazy. Okay, but let me continue. So anyway, he says he abruptly changed the subject. Now, the day after the assault, Mr. Perry called and texted Mr. Dixon relentlessly, saying, tried you, call me, and I really need to talk to you. Please call as soon as you can. Finally, when Mr. Dixon answered Tyler Perry's call, Mr. Perry profusely apologized for the sexual assault while blaming it on other things. Perry continued, saying that he didn't know why he would do that. Maybe he was self-sabotaging. Now, see, here's the thing. I would have been recording this conversation, okay, because I'm gonna have proof and receipts. If you're doing such things after I already told you not to, that I don't get down like that, now you're in trouble. But see, Mr. Dixon, from his own words, didn't seem like he was telling Tyler Perry no. Didn't seem like he was telling Perry, I'm not down with this. It seemed like he was laughing, talking about LOL, making excuses like I'm on the phone with my sister, okay, explaining why he was out walking with this man named Brad. He was doing too much explaining for me. So you've not once in this entire lawsuit thus far told this man no. Okay, you've not once told this man no. You gotta tell Tyler Perry no if he was doing this. Mama Johnson said it's giving consensual. Exactly. Exactly. That's what it's giving. Okay. Nubia Cutie said, why is it not recorded? Exactly my point. Why wasn't he gathering receipts? Okay, honey, I'm not believing this. I think it was more to it. If it was anything going on between him and Tyler Perry, I think that he was absolutely for it. Because why are you answering him like this? And you're not just flat out telling this man, no, I don't want to do it. Okay, I'm not rolling that way. I want to keep it professional. You didn't say that one time. You didn't say no, stop. Okay. Well, apparently he did say no at this point after the cheeks were grabbed. He does say that he said no at that point. And then he tried to remove Tyler Perry's hands, but he had a tight grip on him. Okay. So, anyway, let me stop joking around because this is a serious matter. This man's a victim, you guys. I don't want to victim shame this man because he, in fact, claims to be a victim. So let's continue. The day after the assault, okay, Tyler Perry called and apologized, and he didn't know why he did it, and said maybe he was self-sabotaging. And then on the very same call where he apologized for sexual assault against Dixon, Perry told Dixon, and he says, and don't worry, we're going to do your show, referring to the pilot that Perry knew Mr. Dixon had so desperately wanted to produce. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Dixon got a call from Perry's lawyer saying that Christmas had come early and that Dixon was getting a substantial raise and the show was greenlit. Perry's attorney explicitly warned Dixon not to tell any other actor on the show about Dixon's raise because no other actors were getting a raise, only Dixon. I bet they were if he got a handful of cheeks grabbed. Perry kept telling Dixon that he was sorry and that the harassment would not happen again. However, the harassment and assaults continued. Mr. Perry would also try to deflect the blame for the sexual assault by saying that Dixon didn't have a strong enough no. Well, I got to agree with him right there. I got to agree with him right there. Do y'all hear this? He said you didn't have a strong enough no, so that's why I kept doing it. Okay, that's what I said. Okay, you sit up there laughing, talking about LOL, honey. This man was reading between the lines, and what he saw was yes. And sometimes, even when you say no, it can come off like a yes. If somebody's sitting there with their hands on your cheeks, and then you say no, but you don't take the hands off your cheeks, well, do you think they really think you mean no? I'm just saying. Do you really think that they believe you mean that no? A hard no is getting firing mad. Like, get your goddamn hands off me. Who do you think I am? You know what I'm saying? Going off, not LOL. Oh, LOL. Okay, please. I'm just on the phone with my sister. No, dude, you were doing a whole lot of explaining. That's what that was. The writer said cupping of the cheeks. Exactly. Now, here is another text message where Tyler says, nice. Santa Monica's nice. I'm glad you're going out there. How is your no? How is your no? Is it stronger? You got to have a strong no. And then Derek says, yes, it's strong. My mom literally thinks I'm going to sell my soul to the Illuminati. She heard Kanye said that it's real. Tyler says, well, I don't think that, but I do think that you have to be able to say no and mean it and make it clear. See, Tyler was telling them what you got to do. You got to say a strong no and mean it and make it clear. Because clearly that's not what he was doing. Okay. Then he says, Derek responds saying, I'll only say yes if it gets me an Oscar. Now, do y'all hear that? Now I want y'all to marinate on that for a second. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about right here. And see, this is why when I tell people that some of these people that are claiming to be victims need to absolutely take accountability for the role that they played in their victimization. Not this case right here, because this is all allegations, but I'm saying in other cases. Because sometimes people absolutely do play a role in it because they want money, fame, and fortune and clout, and they want to be next to A-list celebrities. Okay? And they will be willing to compromise their integrity and all of that just to be having a nearness to these famous A-listers and to be having money and to make it big. He says, I'll only say yes if it gets me an Oscar. And then he says, just joking. Just joking. I hear you. Now, see, you don't even play like that. You understand what I'm saying? See, what he's doing, in my opinion, is he's sending mixed messages. Okay, this dude is sending mixed messages. Now, this man just sat there and told you you need a strong no. You need to say no, be clear, and mean it. And then he says, I'll say yes if it gets me an Oscar. Sir, that's definitely not a strong no. Okay, now you're playing games. As far as I'm concerned, he was basically asking for it. He was basically just doing the most. Okay. He was bringing this on himself to a degree because he could have stopped it when it started. Now, Tyler then says, well, the only one who could have gotten that for you through sex is in prison. So just stick to the no unless you are really into him. What does that mean? Is in prison. Oh, he's talking about Harvey Weinstein. That must be who he's talking about. Let me read that again. He said, well, the only one who could have gotten that for you through sex is in prison. So just stick to the no unless you're really into him. Okay, so that's what he's saying. Like basically, the only person who could have done something like that for you is in prison. He must have been talking about Harvey Weinstein, in my opinion. And then he says, so just stick to the no unless you are really into him. So basically saying, honey, if you're not really into me, don't just keep saying no. Because I'm not about to get you no Oscar. Okay, that's what I'm not about to do. You can go to Weinstein for that when he gets out, if he ever does. Okay, please pay attention. Honey, Tyler Perry told him, okay, if these are in fact Tyler Perry's text messages. Anyway, goes on to say, um, Perry told Dixon that you have to be able to say no to propositions for sex and mean it and make it clear. Dixon did not know how to answer without facing retaliation, cancellation of his production contract, or perhaps being killed off of the show. So instead, Dixon made a joke out of the situation, stating that I'll only say yes to sex if it gets me an Oscar. Dude, sit down. See, this is what I find interesting. All of these people who be claiming these things and then trying to sue and want monetary compensation, they sit up here and then they'll say, oh, they were holding my career over my head. Oh, they were holding money over my head. Oh, they were holding this and that and the third over my head. At the end of the day, they're holding over your damn head because you allow them to. Okay, you allow them to. From the minute you sit there and go along with the program, for the minute you sit there and start accepting things for them that you know they're going to want something back for, at the end of the day, you open yourself up for that. Okay, that's why I keep talking about accountability, and I'll continue to talk about it because that's what people need to do. People need to take accountability. Okay, stop acting like these things happen to you out of the blue. These things happen because you allow them to. Okay, you set yourself up for it. That's what many people do. Now, with that all being said, goes on to say Perry reveals through the text messages that the no he was referring to was Dixon's no to exchange to SEX in exchange for promotion in the industry, classically known as quid pro quo sexual harassment. Perry sent this message to Dixon because that is exactly what Perry was doing. At some point, Dixon left Atlanta and moved to Santa Monica to create distance from Tyler Perry. However, even at a long distance, Perry continued to actually harass Mr. Dixon. Now, plaintiff Derek Dixon is an individual who resides in the state of California. Defendant Tyler Perry is an individual who resides in both the state of Georgia and in the state of California and has extensive business contacts in the state of California so that he has conducts, or it should say he conducts substantial, continuous, and systematic business activities in California. Okay, defendant TPS Production Services LLC is a limited liability company doing business in the state of California that is headquartered in Georgia. Defendant in Action LLC is a limited liability company doing business in the state of California, but is headquartered in Georgia. Okay, I'm gonna skip past all of this. Let's talk about the factual allegations. In or around September 2019, plaintiff worked for an event company called Legendary Events in Atlanta that was hired to organize defendant Perry's studio opening party. Okay, plaintiff was recruited by Tony Conway, the owner of Legendary Events and close friend of Tyler Perry. Mr. Conway decided to place Dixon directly in a role at a party that required frequent conversation with Tyler Perry. Defendant Perry picked plaintiff out of a crowd of employees present at the party and began asking Perry questions about his employment status and whether plaintiff was an actor. In or around early October and on the last day of the party, defendant Perry insisted that he and plaintiff exchange phone numbers, and Perry subsequently texted plaintiff to introduce himself. Perry began by asking Dixon about his dreams and aspirations. Dixon told Perry that he was interested in acting and writing. Perry then told Dixon to do an audition over the phone and send it to Perry. Dixon told Perry that he was at a Halloween party. Perry asked to see pictures of Dixon in costume, and Dixon complied. When Perry saw the pictures, he texted Dixon and said, "I was going to say, your cowboy needs a sugar daddy." Perry continued with, "You look great. You're just lacking costume parts." I say, "What?" "Sorry, don't want to offend," he says. Mm-mm. Do y'all hear that? And then Dixon responded, saying, "Not at all. If it's true, half-assed costume." To which Perry replied, "What's true? Cowboy needs a sugar daddy?" Implying that Perry wanted to be Dixon's sugar daddy. See, right then and there, that's when he should have set his boundaries. Okay, see, you have to set boundaries because there are some people, and I'm not saying Tyler Perry because I don't know if this is true or not. It's all allegations thus far. But what I do know is that there are some people who will absolutely use their power, privilege, and status to get people to do things that they want them to do, to try to entice people or to try to tempt people. Okay, but here's the thing, at the end of the day, this young man, if he did not want to go down that road with Mr. Perry, he should have stopped it right then and there when Tyler Perry said something about a sugar daddy. Okay. He should have said, I don't need a sugar daddy. I make my own way in the world and I work hard for everything I have. And I don't want anybody giving me anything that I didn't, in fact, earn through hard work and perseverance. I don't even play those kinds of games. Now, I know you were joking, Mr. Perry, but just so we're clear, I don't do that. That's what he could have said. But no, he didn't say that. But let's continue. So, anyway, Dixon quickly shut down those comments by reiterating that what he said earlier, that the truth was that he was lacking costume parts. Okay, so shortly thereafter, Dixon's boss at Legendary Events called Dixon and told him that Tyler Perry was having another event in Los Angeles and specifically wanted Mr. Dixon to fly from Atlanta to Los Angeles to work on the event. Excited for the opportunity to fly to Los Angeles, Dixon was flattered and jumped on the opportunity to meet Tyler Perry again. After this man that already implied and suggested that he wants to be your sugar daddy, you still flew out there. Why did you fly out there? Because you wanted the opportunity, because you wanted a job with Tyler Perry, because you knew that could be major and big for your career, especially when you're just now trying to get your career off the ground. I get it. I absolutely get it. But there's a way that you go about these things. You see, that old saying about people sell their souls to the devil. Well, this is one of the ways that they do it. The devil doesn't have to be somebody beneath the ground, okay, and fire and brimstone. The devil could be the person who you go to for an audition and they're asking you for things, sexual favors, okay, in return for them giving you career opportunities and advancement. And you have to tell those devils no, because once you cross that line, that continues to be a common theme for you, possibly throughout your career. So you have to shut it down right then and there. And that's what he didn't do. Okay. That's what he didn't do as far as I'm concerned. And now it seems to have gotten out of hand. Okay. Please pay attention. So, with that all being said, Let me continue. So, anyway, goes on to say shortly after doing the events on November the 3rd of 2019, defendant Perry sent plaintiff several text messages that he would love to find plaintiff a job and change plaintiff's life, insisting that they should make it happen. Perry sent Dixon what turned out to be an anonymous warning saying, "Be careful hanging around me. I cause dreamers to dream bigger. I cause them to not only believe, but do. Then let's make it happen. You're an artist. You have to be fulfilled. Nothing else will suffice." The very next day, defendant Perry sent an email which contained an offer for plaintiff to play the role of Dale in Perry's television series Ruthless. Now, Perry said that it was a small role that could get a lot bigger, thereby setting up the first stage in a series of escalating quid pro quo offers. At this point, Dixon did not know that Perry was interested in men or that he was looking for an sex relationship. Now, y'all know what? That's a lie. Now, that right there sounds like a lie. He said at this point he didn't know. Sir, the man literally, according to you, allegedly told you something about being a sugar daddy. Okay? If he's talking about being a sugar daddy or implying that you need a sugar daddy, that should have let you know everything you need to know right there. So, sir, I'm not believing your story. I'm not buying what you're selling. I think that maybe some of this might be true, but if it is, I think you were complicit in going along with it and kicking and ha ha. Okay? And then maybe Tyler Perry didn't get him that show that he wanted. The one that he said he was going to green light. The show that the guy wanted for himself, his own show. Okay, what happened to make him be found in this lawsuit? Because I think it's more than Tyler Perry flirting with him. Okay, I think that he was down with that stuff. That's what it sounds like to me. Now, I could be wrong, but then again, I could be right. So, anyway, with that all being said he didn't know that he was interested in men or looking for an sex relationship. Dixon assumed that Tyler Perry was genuinely a caring person who discovered the talent that Dixon has always felt he had. Dixon filmed his roles in Ruthless in mid-November and went back to his job as an event staff for legendary events. Approximately 1 month later, Perry bought and gave Dixon a new car because he hated Dixon's Jeep. Dixon was surprised and elated. Dixon had no idea that he was being set up by Perry for extreme dependence. Let me tell y'all something. That's what you're not going to do, Mr. Dixon. That's what you're not going to do. That's what you're not going to do. Sheila said he must be slow. Honey, he's not slow. He knew exactly what he was doing. Now, this man has already implied that he wanted to be your sugar daddy, allegedly. And then he turns around and gives you a car, says because he doesn't like your Jeep. First of all, who the hell said anybody other than you needs to like your Jeep? And then a grown man giving another grown man a car after making hints or saying things about a sugar daddy? No, you should not have taken that car. You should have turned it down. But see, that's what people don't do. When people offer people things and they want it, and then they have stars in their eyes and they take these things, okay, now you've made a deal with the devil. So don't try to file a lawsuit against the devil that you know now, because you walked right into this. You didn't set up your boundaries. Okay, you took the gift and you sat there and went along with the flirting. Now you want to cry foul? No, I'm not trying to hear this. I am not trying to hear this at all. But let's continue. I'm not trying to hear it because this all sounds like a whole load of BS, in my opinion. Talking about Tyler Perry gave him a damn car. Please make it make sense. So, anyway, goes on to say in December of 2019, Dixon was requested to be part of the event staff at another event at Perry's home in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. After that event, Perry started frequently sending text messages, making phone calls, and demanding that Dixon give Perry some attention. Now he wants attention. Now, see, isn't that how this happens? See, this is the same stuff that women do. This is the exact same stuff that women do. Women that sit up here and know darn well they don't like a guy like that. But if the guy wants to buy them something nice, send them flowers, give them some diamonds, okay, give them some money for bills, or, take them on a shopping spree, and you don't even really like the dude, but you want that money, you want whatever they're offering, and then you take it, and then they start asking for other things. Okay? Well, the best thing to do is to not accept the gifts. It's okay to say no. That's why they have that old saying, the one that your parents and grandparents taught you about. The one that goes, God bless the child that's got his own. Yeah, well, that's why they say that. Because it's always best to have your own. And then you won't have to worry about people giving you what they have and then turn it around later when you don't put out what they're asking for or what they're seeking and then holding it over your head. You see, that's what you don't have to do. Accountability once again. But let me continue. Like stuff, everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Now, that being said, goes on to say that on New Year's Eve of 2019, Tyler Perry texted Dixon saying, I can't tell you the last time I pumped gas or went to the supermarket or fly commercial or packed a bag or had good sex. It was before I was rich. Dixon found these messages to be strange and untowardly coming from someone like Tyler Perry. But being new to the industry, Dixon played along by downplaying the sexual comments and hoping that being around Perry would allow him to showcase his talents as an actor and writer. Honey, let me tell you something. If somebody's buying you gifts and saying this kind of stuff to you on a regular basis, they don't give a damn about your talents as a writer or actor. Okay? Obviously, they want something else. And then they'll put you in a few things if they get what they want. Okay, so please, sir, don't sit here and try to make excuses and allowances for yourself by pretending that you thought you could just simply downplay these sexual comments while you're accepting gifts from this man, like whole vehicles, while you're accepting parts in his shows, while you're accepting these text messages that are flirtatious in nature and sexual as well. Sir, come on, honey. Okay. Now I might have been born at night, but damn sure wasn't last night, and neither were you, I'm sure. Okay, let's continue. So anyway, soon after Dixon began giving Perry more attention, Perry made his move on Dixon. In January of 2020, just a few months after his first acting gig, Perry invited plaintiff to his home in Douglasville County, Georgia. Plaintiff showed up to the home hoping that he would be given a chance to befriend Perry and show him how talented an actor Dixon was. At Perry's home, Dixon was served many alcoholic drinks, which Perry also partook in. Dixon felt that Perry was genuinely interested in Dixon's talents as an actor and writer. Perry made no sexual advances at Dixon while they were drinking, and the conversation was friendly. Now, at the end of the night, Perry told Dixon not to drive home. Perry said it was dangerous and that Dixon was too inebriated to drive. Dixon agreed and was escorted to a separate guest room. Now, why couldn't he just catch an Uber or a Lyft? Okay, I have questions. But anyway, so he agreed and was escorted to a separate guest room, not knowing that this was a ruse, not a ruse to allow Perry to assault Dixon. Dixon was tired and did not have pajamas, so he got into bed only wearing underwear. Before he knew what was happening, Dixon felt someone else slip into the bed behind him. Now, this is starting to sound like that same story that Christian Keys told. But Christian Keys didn't say it was Tyler Perry. He just said it was a black billionaire. Y'all remember that? Who did a documentary, who had a documentary about themselves. Y'all remember that? This sounds exactly like what Christian Keys said. Christian Keys said he was invited to the house of someone, and he said this person and him had drinks. He was inebriated. The person told him he could stay in the guest bedroom. He went and slept in the guest bedroom, and then later on that night, somebody came and crept in behind him. That's exactly what he said. Go pull up the video. Y'all remember I reported on this. Is all sounding very similar. Okay. Anyway, with that all being said, just remember this is all alleged. Okay, now before he knew what was happening, Dixon felt someone else slip into bed behind him and started rubbing Dixon's body around his inner thigh in a highly sexual and suggestive manner. Dixon turned around and saw that Tyler Perry was in bed with him. First of all, did he have to turn around? If it was just him and Tyler Perry in the house, and Tyler Perry is a tall man, okay, he about 6'3", right? 6'3" to 6'5". So I'm sorry, when he got in the bed, if in fact he did, you didn't know that was him. You had to turn around to make sure, sir. Why didn't you just hop up out of that bed, throw on your clothes, and run for it? I'm just saying, honey, please make it all make sense. Anyway, at this point, Dixon's stomach started to turn, and he began feeling nauseous. Instinctively, Dixon jumped out of the bed and told Tyler Perry that he wasn't that sexual. Tyler Perry ignored the comments and told Dixon to turn around so Perry could see him naked in his underwear. Perry then continued or commented on how beautiful Dixon's body was. Dixon once again told Perry that he was not into sex. Dixon kept informing Perry that he was not into sex in order to keep Perry at bay, while at the same time not insulting the person who was dangling his career in front of him. Damn, a career at this point, honey. Okay, forget all of that. Is your career more important than your dignity? I'm just asking. Apparently not. But anyway, in response to Dixon's frequent assertions that Dixon was not into sex, Perry started prying further. Perry would send Dixon a text message saying, I would hope that you would let someone hold you and make love to you. You're missing the best years of your life, my friend. Trust me. I hope you get past that block in your mind soon. Perry was implying that Dixon would hopefully get past the block in his mind and will let Perry make love to him. Child, this is all nefarious. And this is the text message where it says it too. And then Dixon replies saying, well, it's not this person. But yes, I want that too. I'm working on it. Therapy is helping. Well, anyway, y'all heard it. So anyway, hold on. Where was I? He says, uh, Perry was sending Dixon. Hold on. He says, I hope you get past that block. Okay. Perry was implying that Dixon would hopefully get past his block in his mind and let Perry make love to him. Now, after that assault in January, Dixon felt betrayed. Perry continued to call or text Dixon every day, asking to talk to him more. Dixon ignored Perry, which led Perry to text him, Derek, why don't you text me anymore? The more Dixon ignored Perry, the more aggressive Perry became until finally Perry offered Dixon a part in a new show called The Oval. Dixon was intrigued and was hoping that this would be the big break he was looking for and a chance for him to display his acting talent. On February the 11th of 2020, Perry told Dixon to quit his job at Legendary Events and come work exclusively for Perry. Perry was not able to control Dixon so long as Dixon had a secondary income that was providing for his basic needs. Once Dixon quit his job due to his role on the Oval, Perry started getting more and more personal with Dixon, knowing that Dixon was now under his control. So you mean to tell me after all of this has transpired, this man didn't know that it was time to start recording him? Okay, but let's keep going. Once Dixon quit his job due to his role in the Oval, Tyler Perry started getting more and more personal. Okay, Perry would often say things like, "I give and give and give, and no one ever does anything for me in return. No one ever gives me what I want or what I need," implying that Dixon was not giving him sex. Perry started asking Dixon about Dixon's sexual preferences and what role Dixon took on when engaging in sexual acts, i.e., whether he was a top or bottom, which in sexual terms means whether Dixon preferred to give or receive backdoor relations. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Perry further indicated that Dixon had uh, to Dixon that he had sex with men before and that he was a top. Perry further told Dixon that when you have a what? Okay, I'm gonna skip past all that. When you have a cucumber, a big one, then you hit the G spot on the bottoms, and they go crazy. Okay, that's TMI. Perry further told plaintiff that he wanted a man who was in a relationship with another individual, but with whom he could be emotionally involved and engage in sexual acts with, like a friend with benefits relationship, because Perry did not have time to deal with the emotional aspect of a relationship, only the physical. Despite these comments, Dixon knew that a full throated refusal would land him in the doghouse and might result in his role being cut on the Oval. So you'd rather compromise your integrity, sir? You couldn't just say no because the role was more important to you than your manhood or your integrity. Like this is all given ridiculousness. Fearing that his career would end before it began, Dixon put up with these comments and continued to maintain that he was not the sexual type. On or around March of 2020, Dixon received the script for The Oval. He was written in as a season regular and was therefore expected to quit his job with Legendary Events. Dixon's character was written as a gay, homeless, and a desperate store clerk who had to who had to sleep with one of the other characters for a place to stay. Sounds like his real life from this lawsuit, wouldn't you say? All nefarious. But more importantly, at the end of the season, his character would be shot 4 times in the chest. Dixon felt this was a way for Perry to test Dixon out for a year and see if he would be loyal to Perry. When Dixon asked Perry about the shooting, Perry indicated that if Dixon did a good job, Dixon would be back, and that a shooting didn't necessarily mean that Dixon's character was out of the script for future seasons. Perry commented that Dixon's character was only shot in the chest, not in the head. Dixon immediately understood that his job security depended on his relationship with Perry. Now, from this point on, Dixon worked with the constant fear of losing his job if he did not engage with and endure Perry's sexual harassment. Shortly after giving Dixon this news, and after telling Dixon that the future seasons were dependent on Dixon doing a good job, Tyler Perry invited Dixon to his home in Atlanta. Plaintiff asked questions and tried to wiggle his way out of the invitation because he remembered what happened the last time the two were alone. However, plaintiff knew that his job security, income, and livelihood depended on his attendance. See, this is all crazy to me. Okay, this is all just crazy. Now, plaintiff had seen other employees of Perry's who had experienced sudden deaths on the show when they fell on Perry's bad side. In fact, Perry had made it clear to Dixon that he would often kill characters in order to get an actor to be loyal or obedient. When Dixon arrived at the house, Tyler Perry gave Dixon a warm welcome and was very friendly. Soon after, Tyler Perry started asking Dixon a slew of sexually charged questions, even asking if Dixon liked it rough in the bedroom or in the bed. Perry then physically reached out and violently grabbed Dixon's throat, attempting to physically choke Dixon, and remarked, "Wow, look how excited you just got. You like that." Dixon was horrified, shocked, and in a panic. Dixon never thought that Tyler Perry would get so violent and would place his hands on Dixon's throat in an sexually aggressive manner. Dixon did not enjoy or consent to any of this conduct. Dixon was in shock and took steps to immediately de escalate the situation. Due to the onset of the Stupid 19 pandemic in March of 2020, filming for The Oval was postponed indefinitely. During the period in which filming for The Oval was postponed, Tyler Perry would make FaceTime calls and other contacts to Dixon almost every day, treating Dixon as his on call pet. Dixon felt obligated to answer for fear of losing his role, his income, and career. Perry often asked Dixon about his whereabouts, often demanding that Dixon respond immediately. When he didn't, Perry would send text messages to Dixon stating, "Derek, grr, and what are you doing?" Who is he supposed to be? Tony the Tiger? Do y'all hear this? Now, additionally, Perry was jealous of anyone who Dixon had a relationship with. Tyler Perry told Dixon that if Dixon got Stupid 19 from his roommate at the time, Dixon would not be able to shoot the Oval. Perry encouraged Dixon to move into one of his on-set studio houses owned by Perry, where Perry would have more control over Dixon's whereabouts. Thereafter, Perry would text plaintiff about actors about other actors on the show Ruthless. Perry told Dixon how he manipulated employees through ruthless retaliation. Perry told Dixon that if he did not like the way an actor behaved or the way the actor was acting, the character would simply die in season 2. Dixon understood that Perry was informing Dixon to be cautious about disappointing or upsetting Perry. As a result, Dixon continued to put up with Perry's suggestive messages and sexual advances while doing his best to protect himself by taking notes and amassing evidence of the sexual harassment and keeping old text messages. Wow. So, in one conversation in or around April of 2020, Perry told Dixon that Perry imagined Dixon prancing around in a cowboy outfit, and that Perry did things to Dixon that he couldn't talk with Dixon about any further because they were so wrong. In or around April of 2020, and while Dixon was living in the studio homes on set, Perry often coerced Dixon to drink alcohol and then get on the phone with Perry. Perry would frequently have someone drop off alcohol at Dixon's door. Perry would eventually turn these phone calls into sexually explicit rants. Perry would get frustrated with Dixon and tell Dixon that he was not giving Perry what he needs. Dixon's refusal to succumb to Perry's sexual advances caused Perry to be even ever more frustrated. Eventually, Perry warned Dixon that if Dixon told his castmates about the harassment, Dixon would be opening himself up to lots of questions and foolishness. Do you all hear this? Do you all hear this? He told this man allegedly, somebody said the Freakazoid Express. Do you all hear this? Said if he told anybody, he would be opening himself up to lots of questions and foolishness and demanded that Dixon not discuss any of their conversations with castmates. Here's the thing. If he didn't want this man telling anybody, why was he sending him text messages that could clearly be screenshot and shown to others? Now, Perry upped these stakes by telling Dixon point blank that he was not to tell anyone about their friendship. Perry told Dixon that it should all remain a secret and tried to make it seem like this secret was for Dixon's benefit. Perry continued to actually harass Dixon. On June the 27th of 2020, defendant Perry texted Dixon that all he wanted for his birthday were biscuits and BJs, referring to somebody tasting cucumbers, okay? Somebody tasting cucumbers. Y'all know what I'm talking about, or eggplants. And that all Perry ever received were biscuits, insinuating a request for uh tasting cucumbers from Dixon. This is all nefarious. Now, this text was followed by other messages calling Dixon cute, cutie, and that Perry was just thinking about Dixon. Despite these advances, Dixon continued to act professionally and continued to tell Perry he was not sexual. That seemed to be the only way of keeping Perry at bay while keeping his job. In July of 2020, Perry remarked about how much he loved the script for Dixon's television series called Losing It and exclaimed that he wanted to shoot the pilot for it. Okay, Perry would never really work toward that goal. And what Perry was really doing was making Mr. Dixon more dependent on Perry so that Perry could later extract sexual favors from Dixon as a quid pro quo to produce the pilot. In or around August of 2020, Dixon and his castmates began shooting for the Oval after delays due to the pandemic, during which time all castmates and crew lived on the studio set in a quarantine bubble. Now, shortly after Perry confided in Dixon that two cast members were pissing him off, and that Perry swore that he knew how to fix this ish. Okay, Perry added that he loves killing a mother ucker in a show that no one expects. That he was going to shoot them all. That he was going to shoot them all and then kill them mofos. Okay, the characters, referring to killing off the characters in the Oval, played by actors who Perry wanted to retaliate against. More importantly, Perry stated that in one text message, he said, "I may need to shoot the shoot out early." Okay, which Dixon understood to mean that unless the actors knew they were going to die and that their time on the show was over, they wouldn't change their ways. Perry was going to film the shootout early so the actors would be more submissive to Perry's request. Perry intentionally made these comments to instill fear in Dixon. Mr. Dixon now knew that he too would lose his job if Dixon did not play ball with Perry's sexual harassment. This is what Perry had been setting up. Dixon was now fully reliant on Perry for his income, hope, and his future aspirations. Perry made it clear that Dixon was not to disclose the relationship to anyone else, and Dixon was aware that Tyler Perry would kill him off the show for good, thereby ending his career if Dixon got on Tyler Perry's bad side. To top it all off, Dixon already knew that his character was shot 4 times at the end of the season, but that the shots might not be fatal. In July of 2020, Perry read the script of Dixon's pilot and told Dixon that he loved the show so much he wanted to shoot the pilot for it. Dixon did not know that Perry never intended on shooting the show. Perry knew that he could use the motivation for shooting Mr. Dixon's show to get Dixon to do what Dixon had been resisting for many months, which was to give Perry the sexual gratification Perry so craved. Now, once the stage was set, Perry knew that he would get away with sexual harassment. During the filming of The Oval in 2020, Perry engaged in a severe and pervasive tirade of sexual commentary, including but not limited to: A. Dixon liked being choked, following Dixon's being choked by a cast member in one scene in The Oval. B. Why do you twist your hips when you walk? C. How can I get a date of Dixon? D. When will you be thick again? E. I love how I feel right now, but I don't like being horny, he says. F. I feel sorry for the person who flirts with me. G. I've been trying to put that energy somewhere else, but everything is sexual on this stuff. H. That snake across the table made me think of a photo of Nicki Minaj from the music video of her song Anaconda, okay, in which she references intercourse with male genitalia symbolized by a snake. I. I will gladly chalk you right now. I think that's supposed to be choke, right? Because he was referring to Perry's desire to choke Dixon in an sexual way. J, a suggestion that Dixon should get braces behind his teeth, but that plaintiff would give up BJ's and that it could be dangerous for Dixon's partner, especially if they're not. This is all. I'm not going to say they were circumcised with a C. K. That's when you were thick, Derek, fun, Derek, drunk, Derek, before the pandemic, Derek. I miss him, just without a butt. And thick, and then L. This is all crazy. Are y'all listening to this? Anyway, thick Derek would have worked them pants out. Okay, and then it says Perry also photographed Dixon's buttocks while on set, sending the pictures to Dixon. Okay, two text messages of many show that Perry was jealous of seeing Dixon with other men and that Perry describes Dixon as so beautiful. Here are more text messages. One says, why did that photo make me jealous? You two together. Okay, that's the one about the Brad that we already went over. And then here's another one says, in your mind soon. And then Derek says, well, it's not this person. Uh yeah, okay, we've already read these. That's the one about the therapy. Okay, so anyway, they're just reiterating that. And so I'm not gonna go through all of this like I told you guys, but at the end of the day, this is a lot. Okay, this is a whole lot. Here's another one with a text message. Let me see what this one says. Okay, so these text messages were followed by others to Dixon like, Derek, don't you dare ignore me. I deserve better. I deserve attention all the time. Dixon, out of fear for the unknown future of his career, continued to give Perry the social attention that he demanded, even though Dixon would constantly get sexually harassed. On several occasions, Perry would text Dixon while drunk. In one exchange, Perry told Dixon, you know what I cook? A Derek. And then proceeds to say, I'm so drunk. He says, you know what I cook, and then said, Derek. Okay, I don't get it. I guess he said he cooked him. And then he says, I'm so drunk, talking ish. In December of 2020, Dixon began feeling depleted due to Perry's continued pattern of sexual harassment. The assaults and harassment began manifesting in his physical health, and Mr. Dixon had no one to turn to. Dixon visited a physician who indicated that Dixon's inhibited severe symptoms of acute stress, insomnia, stomach issues, and dangerously low cortisol levels due to the sexual harassment and assault. Now, the physician prescribed Zoloft, which is an antidepressant for Dixon's ailments. The sexual harassment continued through the beginning of 2021. Perry continued sending Dixon unsolicited photos of his body from the set of the Oval, with comments such as, "Oh my, oh my God, look at that thick Derek. No, the weight difference. I can see it. Thick Derek. Okay, good. Okay, this is all getting to be a bit much. Now I'm going to scroll to the end of it. Hold on. And so basically, okay, he has a prayer for relief. He wants $260 million in punitive damages. Okay, for injunctive relief where the court deems appropriate. For all other relief, court deems appropriate and just for a total amount of damage, including punitive damages, $260 million, respectfully submitted and dated June 13th of 2025. Okay, so y'all heard that. Okay, I believe it right there. All right. All crazy. All crazy. So this will likely be settled. Okay, it'll likely be settled in my opinion. At the end of the day, I just feel like if this stuff is true, and I don't know that it is, but if it is true, to me, the man was complicit in some of it. Okay, You can sit there and say that you did it because of your job, you didn't want to lose your job or whatever, but some things are not, some money is not even worth it. So all money isn't good money. And at the end of the day, you should never compromise your integrity for any amount of money, because then what you'll do is you'll find yourself being caught in a hamster wheel, okay, a repetitive cycle of the same old, same old. Because once somebody starts doing these things to you, what makes you think they're going to stop? Okay, once you let it go on and persist. So anyway, with that all being said, listen, I'm out of here, you guys, because I'm tired and I have to be up early in the morning. So everyone, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, I love you all to life. I will see you all in the morning, okay, live from the courthouse. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got